Hello everyone, and happy Thursday from yours truly. My name is Kate, and I'm here with the Playful Learning Stream with the Two-Bit Circus Foundation today. And I'm really excited to get into part 2 of our STEAM in Theater, and I'm so lucky I get to spend 2 times with you guys next week. So next Tuesday and Thursday for the Playful Learning Stream. You'll get myself. On Tuesday, we will be exploring lemon batteries. So that's going to be really, really exciting. And we're going to see what correlations we can make between citrus and power. And then on Thursday, we're going to continue with our STEAM in Theater discussion. And last week, just a bit of a throwback / refresher for anyone who wasn't here last week. We created our own stages, whether that be a raked stage or a raised stage that you just made out of a box top. Either one works. And we learned about stage directions. So closer to the audience is downstage, closer to the back of the theater or where the set usually is, that's going to be upstage. Stage right is towards the actor's right, and then stage left is towards the actor's left. So we explored that terminology. We explored a little bit about what theater is, what I think theater just needs in order to be done, which is one performer and at least one audience member. Somebody needs to be viewing the art that you're creating, correct? As well as some basic terms when it comes to blocking actors, and a little bit of early theater history when it came to Greek theater and where we get the term thespian nowadays from Thespis, who was the original drama playwright that won for his play that he wrote. And so in honor of him, the OG actor in theory, we celebrate by calling actors, thespians. So that is a bit of a rewind / recap of last week. And this week we're going to continue in time a little bit and talk more about specifically mask work, because mask is a huge part of theater. And like most art forms, it does have to deal with math, because we do have to keep in mind the proportions on a mask, as well as there's color theory thrown in there. There is also fancy technology that we use nowadays that can create mechanical masks, or silicone that is covered, that covers a robot, for instance, and it gets some very, very smooth movements, and we usually call those, whenever they're in theme parks, animatronics. They're animated electronics. Animatronics. Fancy, funny word. And that's a great example of modern technology and modern mask work, because it is a mask. That latex skin that we pull over the robot is a mask so that we can believe the storyline a little bit better, whatever it may be, or whatever storytelling device the show director, writer is trying to use to convey this idea or this theme better to you. So we're going to talk about the importance of masks and where they play in theater. So as we talked about last week, there were 3 categories when it came to Greek theater. There were comedies, there were dramas, and of course the satyr plays, or satire plays. And during this time, women were not allowed to participate as actors at all. So instead, a lot of men, and young men or men of all different shapes and sizes, were cast as women. So in order to create that illusion a little bit better, they would wear these masks and don costumes to make them look more like a woman in the play, so that the audience could believe the storytelling device a little easier. Can anyone think for me right now of an example of mask work that we use today? It is October 1st, hint, 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 as to a favorite holiday of mine, and I think a few other people's but it usually comes at the end of October, and usually involves candy. And if you don't get tricks, then you get treats. Anybody? Anyone? Well, if you haven't guessed yet, it's Halloween. And Halloween is a great modern example of us still using masks to this day. Now, not everybody puts on a mask during Halloween with their costume, but some people do in order to create that illusion a little bit more for everyone else. Ah, super fun, right? So let me show you some of these Greek masks that I'm talking about. And you can see them right here. So there's a lot of varieties, as you can tell. They have their eye holes cut out so that the actor can see behind there, as well as mouth holes so that you can hear them speak and say their lines. But as you can see, like this one, I think is supposed to be a lady, this one as well. These ones are men, very specific men. Maybe some of these masks were specific to gods or goddesses of that time, which is super cool. And you can see right here a modern example of somebody doing a Greek play, but using Greek masks. We just saw an example of this a little earlier. An older gentleman with a beard. We can see it echoed right here and right here. And last week we talked about a very important part of Greek theater, which is this lovely group right here. That is the Greek chorus, and they are super, super important to Greek theater because they usually were the narrators, storytellers, story facilitators to the audience for the evening. And they often spoke in verse and rhyme, and they carried a lot of the story as well as any sort of asides the character may have to the audience. The chorus, the Greek chorus, would act like a talking audience member that the actors could interact with, which is super cool. And I'm sure many of you can think of modern day examples of that. If you can't, Cirque du Soleil, with their clowns, have great group work when it comes to entertaining and modern entertainment. And often the clowns are the people who help facilitate the story because the acrobats and the dancers, their storytelling is a little bit metaphorical, a little less straightforward, while the clowns are able to speak sometimes, or their body language is different, so we can interpret their storytelling a lot easier than others, which is super fun. So we have talked about physical masks, and that is actually the project that is going to get done today. It looks like I have to do some digging in my great 10 pound bag of everything. I wasn't connecting very well last week to everyone, but I made a mask. I made one. It looks like I might have to start over today, which is just fine. So we're going to make a mask today. That's going to be our activity. However, say you don't have upcycled materials in your house right now or anything handy that you could put together in order to create a mask today. That is perfectly fine. I am also going to be doing a little bit of face painting because mask work is not just a physical mask that you can put on your face. It also can contain face painting, and there is great examples of modern theater. I'm trying to get my thoughts straight. Modern theater that uses face paint. Now, it's not often in Western theater, but it is very popular in Eastern theater, and we will go into that in a little bit. But first, we are going to create our physical mask, just like the Greek chorus. Let's get back to them. Yes, look at them. They're fabulous. And also, you will notice that they look very uniform. They all look identical because they're supposed to be one mass unit. They're not supposed to be individuals together, but just a big group that's actually together. So I'm going to gather my materials for my mask making. I am going to lay down one of these boards that I have so that I don't make too much of a mess. And then I'm going to be using pieces of cardboard, because we're always using cardboard here. Oh, and don't forget, friends, next week is the cardboard challenge. I'm sorry, that was broken up in a really, really weird way. But next Saturday, we have our cardboard challenge, which is going to be super fun. We're going to be joined by Kane and some other amazing special guests, and you get to join along with us and maybe make some cardboard creations of your own. Please share them with us on our Instagram page or our Facebook. If you're one of the imagination chapters, we'd love to connect with you. But yeah, hit us up there next Saturday when we're running the National Cardboard Challenge Day. And you get to see yours truly here play some fun games with Kane. So I'm excited. Anyways, I was talking about cardboard, and since I work with cardboard a lot, I often have a lot of pieces left over. So I'm going to combine these pieces that I have left over from making our stage, because I have a small face, so this will work, to create my upcycled mask with all of you here today. So I want you to kind of forage around your house, see what you can use. You could even use printer paper or construction paper if your parents have some extra of that. Foam. I've seen foam work for superhero masks before that I've made with friends. What other materials have I made? Oh, well, there's paper mache, which is a super fancy material. You can make, if you have extra Lego bricks, that's also a good material to build things out of. I've seen really, really cool art pieces made out of Lego bricks. So, I think I'm going to do something moon related, since today is a harvest moon and a full moon today. So I'm going to do it in celebration of that. I'm going to cut some eye holes, because if I don't, I won't be able to see. And then I'll be a blind actor stumbling across the stage. Now, since we are using sharp objects and you might be using a hot glue gun, friends, please get a responsible adult around you to make sure that you are not going to hurt yourself, okay? It always behooves you to ask for help. If you need help, that is not a bad thing to ask for at any time. So if you need help, ask for it. I'm always a big fan of people asking for help when they feel like they don't know how to do something or understand something. Yes, I would rather you ask for help than get hurt. And I think any adult, your teachers, your guardians around you, your babysitter, they probably don't want you to be hurt. So check in with them. Make sure that everything is good. And maybe get them into, maybe they can make a mask with you. Maybe you guys can create a pair of masks that tell a story. Ooh, storytelling, acting together. Yay, I love it. So, got one eye, but I still need the other one because I've got two of them. Last time I checked, at least. And for all of my Mid-Autumn Festival celebrators out there, happy Mid-Autumn Festival, or happy Tết, everyone, in Vietnamese. It's Tết Trung Thu, which is what we call it in Vietnamese. Usually in Vietnam, we follow a lunar calendar before there was the Gregorian calendar that we now use. And this would be a very bountiful time of the year. As you can see, I don't always use my scissors. I sometimes just get in there with my hands because sometimes that's the best tool that you have. Well, we've got 2 eye holes now, so I can see, which is good. So next would be decorating. And of course, you can always do the usual coloring with markers, or if you have paint, I suggest paint, oil pastels, excuse me, Whatever you have, use it. I say. There is no wrong way to decorate. Like, I'm about to add some wrapping paper onto this as well. But at first, I'm going to make this little tissue paper scrunchies that I don't know what these are called. But what I do is I take some tissue paper and I rip it up and I kind of scrunch it together, and then I stick it down on my mask. This usually works pretty well with glue, but if you're using glue paste, like glue from a glue bottle, be careful because it gets super messy, and that particular kind of glue likes to go through the tissue paper, and then your fingers get sticky, and so I'm just warning you all, it gets messy, and that's okay. Because you're all about to see me break out my paints later, and it's about to get real, it's gonna get real messy in here. And I apologize for any silence while I'm working. I'm gonna try to keep the conversation going with everyone while I'm doing this. Ah, no, I lost some of my tissue paper. It's a really, really warm day today, so if you happen to hear any like whooshing noises in the background, that is probably my air conditioning or my fan running because it is too hot. It is triple digits where I am. I hope that wherever you are, friends, it is not in the triple digits and you do not have to suffer through this. Because I'm feeling hot, hot, hot. It's just too hot. I have to get some ice water for the kittens later. I actually have some water shared with them right now. See Athena taking advantage of that. I should have brought my water over. Okay, you guys want to see a tissue paper update? Hold on. Look, it's so pretty! I'm going to keep going because I've got a whole mask. I don't know if I will do tissue paper the whole entire way on here, at least in the middle, but I don't know if that's a pattern that I want to keep for the full mask. I don't know. Ooh, while I have y'all's attention, check out our website, www.2bitcircus.org, because we have some amazing kits on there right now. I know everybody's back to school, so we have kits that can help make some of your learning easier, like our STEAM carts. We've got kits that have our upcycled material if you can't come shop with us in person, because, you know, we're definitely safer at home, and we want you all to stay safe during this pandemic. So, like my magical 10-pound bag, you can join me on the fun in that and order your own. Or we have pre-made kits already filled with the right upcycled materials inside of these boxes for you. And then you can follow our archive that's on YouTube. And I believe we have over 60 projects on there right now. I don't know if we have 60 kits ready for you, but we have at least 60 projects ready for you that you can follow along. Plus, who doesn't like a little bit of arts and crafts every now and then? Or every day, actually. I like a little bit of arts and crafts every day. As you can see, I'm getting further down. I don't know how this moon goddess is going to end up, but I'm going to just keep going with my creativity flow. And it's totally okay. It's so okay for you to just kind of go with the flow when you're creating something and not to have an idea. I would say just instead of feeling stuck and feeling like you can't or shouldn't make anything, just keep going at it. Just keep making stuff. Eventually, it'll become something. Even when you're at the end of it. I know that helps me when I'm trying to practice my drawing. I often find that I'm picky and I'm trying to be a perfectionist with my drawing, like, no, I have to draw this, or it doesn't look this like perfect way that I want it to. And that's totally okay, and that shouldn't keep me from not drawing at all, which is absolutely what I end up doing, is that my perfectionist side gets kicked into gear, and then I don't feel good about anything that I'm drawing. And instead, I should just try to just draw something, just make something. So good so far. I like it. I'm kind of giving myself, I don't know if we have any Avatar The Last Airbender fans out there. I am a huge fan. But it kind of reminds me of Aang's Airbender arrow. And I've got some fun fabric from inside of the 10-pound bag. See, I told all of you, there's all sorts of magic in this bag. It's like a nexus of fun. You just never know what you're going to find next in here. And let's see, what am I going to do with this fabric? Well, at first I'm going to cut it up into little strips. Maybe create little bows. And I'll apply these somehow onto my mask, like that. I think that's pretty cute. Maybe just one side. So what I'm going to do first, since I'm doing kind of a repetitive action, I'm going to take my fabric here and cut out all the strips that I need. Okay, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to just start tying knots. Sometimes I sing to myself as well when I'm working. Let's see. That's a good spooky October song. There are few who deny what I do, I am the best, for my talents are renowned far and wide. In the moonlit, oh gosh, look at me, not remembering the words. Well, let's try another song from that same film. I sense there's something in the wind that feels like tragedy at hand, and though I'd like to stand by him, and bless you, Poe. Mr. Poseidon just made a sneeze. And be together now and forever. Oh, I think not. Everybody else in my apartment's taking a nap right now. It's probably because we're in triple digits. You know, when it gets too hot outside, it makes me feel like taking a nap too. So, I empathize with Poseidon over there, trying to get his naps in. That doesn't work. Oh no. It looks like I have... Oh no, actually, that's not too bad. Ta-da! Gonna keep going. Let's see. Maybe some colors? Actually, you know me. I love sparkles. Let's go for some sparkles. While I am a little bit sad that this year's Halloween is going to be socially distant. I am very much looking forward to spending Halloween making some hot apple cider and probably some pumpkin muffins. And let's see, what else? What else do I feel like making that day? Probably some chocolate dipped pretzel sticks. Those are always a good snack. I don't know if anybody else here is a big fan of the salty sweet factor, but I am. I most certainly am. And I would say every single time I feel right now like I'm missing my friends in person, I just try to remind myself that, you know, whenever there is a vaccine and it becomes safe to be able to socialize with one another again, I am going to be much more grateful and much more conscientious about how grateful I am that I get to hang out with my friends in person when I do next time. I feel like sometimes I take that feeling or that privilege for advantage, you know, and I forget how important it is until life happens like this. But I have bread now that I can make for all my friends when they come visit me again, and all sorts of good stuff like that. So I'm excited. All right, are you guys ready for this? I don't know what I'm gonna call her, but I like it. I've got some moon sparkle shades on the side, followed by like this tissue paper waterfall and some red and gold bows. I definitely feel like a superhero. I feel like a different person when I have this on versus when I don't. And actually, a very quick and easy way to analyze how we feel about mask work whenever those around us use it is, have you guys ever played, or have you all ever played peekaboo with a baby? I would say that mask work is a lot like peekaboo with a baby. They become super surprised when you tell them peekaboo and a different facial expression. And I'm going to demonstrate that for all of you by using my little craft table that I was working with and changing my expressions and seeing if it makes you guys feel differently. So let's see. Did you feel differently every single time I change my expression? Did you have different emotions inside? Well, if you did, and it's okay if you didn't, but if you did, that's the emotions that actors and performers are trying to evoke whenever they use masks to perform. So, you can see how important it can potentially be to creating the overall aesthetic or overall feeling of the creative piece that somebody is trying to put forward in front of you. Ooh. So, we have just finished exploring mask work that is specific to Greek theater. And before I leave it, I do want to give you all a little bit of a background about masks in general before I start talking about painted masks. So, since the dawn of theater, many cultures from around the world represented actors and as other persons of being. They used actors to portray other people. They weren't always just themselves. So traditions in both the West theater and Eastern style theater adopted masks as one of its important props and tools in order to facilitate this type of storytelling. And it was, for the Greeks, it was specifically born out of the city of Athens, where culture, poetry, and art were valued as an important foundation of everybody's daily lives. So stage drama received special care, and because of that, it enabled quick popularization of the three types of plays that we've been talking about: the tragedy, the comedy, and satyr or comedic satire plays. However, that is not the earliest examples of masks. Often the earliest examples of masks can be traced back to religious ceremonies like rituals, celebrations or festivals, rites of passages, recreation of folk stories, pageants, and other types of ceremonies since the ancient times. And some of these older masks used in religious healing have transformed into a more entertainment-based mask, or they are still considered sacred and often not used outside of that culture, such as the old masks used in religious healing practices that date back to 3,500 years ago in ancient China. So, though that mask use that was created around the 13th century AD was then transcribed into murals and paintings to display what life was like and what ceremonies that these sorcerers or mask users would use around the royalty and nobility, because unlike Western theater, Greek theater that was popularized by the masses and was for the general everyday citizen, theater was considered a higher art form in the East, and so it was only available to those of noble ranking or those of royalty. And you'll actually find that that's what happens to Western theater a little bit later on when we start talking about medieval theater. And just so you know, before I leave Greek theater, these masks that the Greeks used were often stiffened and painted linen. Just so you know, if you were curious about the type of material that they were made out of, which would explain why most of them have been held up, since linen is a natural material and therefore biodegradable. We only know what they look like because theater was so popular during those times, and there were other lasting art pieces that made it through the time that explained and showed us what these masks could have looked like. But I have been hinting for a long time now and suggesting that we were going to be talking about Eastern style theater because I was going to be talking about face painting. And one of the important ones I wanted to mention was Kabuki style theater, which was created in 1600 AD in Japan. And Kabuki style theater is still prevalent to this day and performed in Japan. I don't believe there's any Kabuki theater in the States, or at least the state of California from what I know, but I may be wrong, so please research if you are interested in Kabuki theater. So, Kabuki theater still to this day uses masks, and let me show you all what those masks look like so that you can compare them to what is happening? There we go. Okay, so you can compare them to the Greek mask we were just looking at. So, this is a stage with some Kabuki performers, on it, and as you can all tell, they're wearing different kinds of masks, as well as these very elaborate and beautiful costumes that look like they're made out of many, many layers. I'm expecting this to be hot, but any Kabuki theater performers out there, let me know. I want to know. And right here, this image is going to represent the main types of no masks that are often seen still to this day. But let me give you a little bit more of a background on Kabuki theater itself. So, this style of traditional theater uses extravagant makeup and costumes and a unique kind of music and an all-male cast. Where have we heard that before? So a woman named Narakuni created Kabuki theater. But after that, women were banned from performing it. Even though a woman created Kabuki theater, no women were allowed to perform in it. Most of these plays were based on legends and open and close with the sound of a wood clapping together. So, if you don't know what that sounds like, let me get 2 pieces of wood that I have. It would sound something like this. Very striking, very distinctive noise. The style of music in Kabuki theater is named for a 3-stringed instrument called a shamisen. The music enhances the actors' movements and voices, making them almost like they're dancing and singing together. Almost like musical theater over here in the West. During climactic moments in the play, or at the end of the scene, the actor freezes in place, stares, and then crosses his eyes. This is called mie. Each Kabuki character wears colorful costumes and has thick makeup that looks like a mask. Often, as we saw right there, they're often wearing masks themselves. The color red on a character's face signifies a good character, while blue suggests a bad character. Which is often kind of the opposite in the West, if you think about it. We often see blue as good, and red is often considered with the bad guys. For instance, blue is often associated with the Jedi, or the light side, and red is often associated with the Sith, or the Empire, the dark side of the Force. Let's see, Oh, all of the elements that I just mentioned to you together have made Kabuki theater a traditional art form that has entertained audience for over 400 years, my friends. 400 years. That is a very, very long time. So, in conjunction or parallel to Kabuki theater, there is also Chinese opera theater that you can see right here with these 2 performers in this image that I grabbed. As we heard before, the history of Chinese masks actually comes out of their shamanic rituals, and it wasn't until much, much later that these festive masks were used in celebrations, or different masks, theatrical masks were worn and even painted, as you can see right here in this example in Chinese opera. So with these masks, audience were able to read the character and the role all at one glance, especially if you had to sit in the way, way back and you could only see so many things. The mask was going to give you what you needed to know at first glance. This was possible because of a strict symbolism of colors that were used in painting the mask. So red, unlike in Japanese culture, symbolizes positive values of the characters such as loyalty, heroism, and courage in Chinese theater. Purple can also be used instead of red and can symbolize sophistication and justice. Black is another color that is used, and that's usually for characters that have integrity, that are impartial or neutral. Blue is used as, can also be used for a neutral character, but it can also mean wisdom, stubbornness, or fierceness. Green is reserved for characters that lack self-control, that are often violent or impulsive, and yellow and white paint usually are used for cruel characters and characters that are often hypocrites or evil. Supernatural beings wear masks that are gold or silver, usually if they are gods, demons, or spirits, because these colors symbolize mystery. Ooh. I'm seeing here that it says the Shangdong Nu mask is a very important part of No culture and is used for religious rituals, dance, and theater. It's often made as a high-quality artwork in bright colors that show the characteristics of a god that is represented in the mask and can have more or less stylized features. These masks are still used today for its intended purposes, from ritual to celebratory. That is pretty cool. So, what have we learned here from masks overall? So, we've learned that masks often came out of religious purposes in the East, specifically in China, where it was used in shamanic rituals. In No and Chinese opera, they still use painted masks or sometimes physical masks that represent specific characters, as well as they have specific meanings based off of the colors that are used. For instance, in Japanese No theater, red is often used for good characters and blue is used for bad characters. And then I just told you all a little bit of a color breakdown for Chinese opera and what colors that they use. Then Before that, we talked about Greek theater and the importance of masks there, especially since women were not allowed to be actors, but women were very, very involved in the plays that were performed during this time. So those masks were often made out of linen, and they were painted to represent a deity or a specific person or a lady, as I said. So overall, these masks were used to portray a very specific type of character to the audience so that the audience could understand the character and the story better. With that in mind, I'm going to grab some water right now and my face paint so that we can start doing the second project besides a physical mask that we created. And if you didn't have enough time from before and need to go back to creating your mask, please feel free to do so, my friends, my lovely friends. I am going to be right back. I'm going to grab my paints, and then we're going to get started. Okay, friends, I am back, and I am ready. So, what we can do first, if you're a planner like me, is we can draw out our idea. Sometimes these are called face maps, I believe. So, I don't know, let's do a kitty cat. You guys know I was gonna do a cat. I'm a big fan of cats. I'm only gonna do half of my face. I did a sketch last time, but let me do a sketch on the other side this time of something a little different. Because last time I did not necessarily have all the tools that I needed. Right, which is totally my bad, you guys. That's like my fault. Like, why do you not have the tools, Kate? Quick sketch, because I like quick sketches. You can take as much or as little time as you like. I'm going to just transition back to the be right back sign real fast so I can grab some paintbrushes. Okay, we have paintbrushes. Alright. Well, let's start off with something fun. I'm going to be using everyone as my mirror. Gonna start off with this layer of purple. Oh, it's kind of pretty. This is pretty. That's pretty. It's very watery though. I need to add less water in here. I also need to stop talking so I can paint my face. Maybe we'll do something Cheshire Cat inspired. Yeah? I always love a good little fantasy makeup. I participate in what is called cosplay, which is costume playing kind. So when I dress up in costume as my favorite characters, when I go around a con, not necessarily pretending to be them, but dressed up like them for sure. Okay, this evening our purple here. That looks pretty good, right? You guys can clearly see a difference between my painted face and my not painted face. I'm gonna move my light over a little bit for you all. We're going to go to white next. And I find for face painting, you can use any brush, painting brushes, regular makeup brushes, whatever works for you is going to be what's best. I'm going to move back my hair a bit because I was getting very close to painting my own hair, which is not what we want today. It's not the look we're going for. Looks like I need some more water for the white. Okay, there we go. Good deal. Good deal. Okay. Then we're gonna do this little number. Because I'm a cat. And I'm a kitty cat. And I'm meow 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 and I'm meow meow meow. I'm also trying to be very gentle around my eyes, friends. I'm trying to give it more of a striped look, like it's fur. Because as you can see right here, where it's kind of a little bit more like a straight line, it doesn't look as good. It doesn't look natural. It doesn't look like I have fur on my face. This is also extremely hard to do backwards in this style right here with you guys. I'm seeing everything sort of in reverse from everyone. Yeah, this way. There we go. Got a little bit of kitty cat. There we go. That looks good. Alright. Some white so that we can move on to the pink. Also make sure you get the water paints that are like water friendly. I've sometimes accidentally gotten ones that are not water friendly, and therefore I end up with the wrong paints at the end of the day. They don't want to work with me. She's a cat. She's a kitty cat. And she meow meow meows and she meow meow meows. She's a cat. She's a kitty cat. And she dance 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 and she dance dance dance. Sorry guys, as you can tell, I'm very easily amused by myself. No, that's not too bad. I gotta do some detail work. So as you can see, I'm just layering things on. So it looks a little bit more fur-like. I know in the eyes right now it's not necessarily the best. Let's see if I can do something fun right there. Oh, there we go. Alright. Alright, we've got large cat eye. Okay. Alright. Next color. Let's go with a... Is it time for black already? Is it time for detail work, or do we want to do a few more colors in here? Let's do a red nose. Usually I know this Cheshire Cat's nose is purple. But maybe we can get some sort of cute little pink tone. Alright, that's not bad. I like that. I don't hate that. I'm sorry if you can hear Miss Athena. It's getting close to her dinner time. So she's going to get a little loud. Oh yeah, that's pretty good. I don't hate that. Okay. do need to cover up this spot though. Oop, there we go. Okay. And now I go back. I know it looks super muddy to you guys as of right now, but now I'm going to go back with a smaller brush and do my detail work. Oh my goodness, I only have 8 minutes left with you all. Why does this always happen to me? Why am I always so carried away? Okay, well hopefully I can finish this in the next 8 minutes with everyone here. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good right there. Alright, that's not too bad. Maybe make that one a little. Okay. Oh, make sure I don't paint myself in the eye. So as you can see right now, I'm going back with this black as a detailing tool so that my lines are crisper. You can all see what I'm going for a little easier this way. Also can create some lines in here to help me look like any other cat. You want to make sure that it looks like hairs. Too far, too far, too far, she went too far. And then usually cats have this dark line around their faces. I don't know if you all recognize that or know that, but there we go. Oh, that's not too shabby. I do not hate that. That's pretty good for me kind of rushing at the end there. Hold on. Let me... I know it still looks messy. Let me get some defined lines in there. Ooh. I can do that better. Oh, now my paint's getting washy. Okay, I need to stop. Now my paints are starting to mold together, and that's no good. Well, as you can see here, I've painted half of my face like a tiger. Kate, tiger. Kate, tiger. Kate, tiger. I don't know if this side, even though I messed it up a little bit, makes you feel differently than this side of my face. I know it definitely looks a lot different to me. But thank you so much for joining me this week for class. As I said, next Tuesday we're going to be doing our lemon battery class, so I'm super excited for that. And then Thursday we will come back and continue with our trek about the STEAM in theater. So we talked about masks today, and next week we're going to talk more about the stage and the wings, and we're going to travel down a little further towards medieval theater territory, which I had just mentioned before. And if you have any suggestions for me of theater that you would like to see from other parts of the world that have cool masks, please let me know. Let us know on our Instagram. You can hit us up on our website. Again, that's www.2bitcircus.org. And you can find us at 2BCF or 2-Bit Circus Foundation on our Facebook and our Instagram. And we have a YouTube page, which you know since you're seeing me there live right now. Hello, YouTubers. And on our website that I just told you earlier, you're going to find, as I said before, our Steam carts that are available to fly in home to you that have all these materials for our back to school work right now. We have our workshop kits that we have that already have all the upcycled materials inside of them for you, and that is connected to our archival footage of over 60 projects, excuse me, on our YouTube. What else are we talking about? Yes, Cardboard Challenge. Cardboard Challenge is not this weekend, but next weekend. We're going to be joined by the amazing Kane Monroy from Kane's Arcade, and we're going to be chit-chatting with him and exploring the amazing properties of cardboard that you all get to explore with us on a regular basis. And I think... Oh, and the 10-pound bag. Of course, you saw me pull from it today. That's where I get all my magical upcycle goodies from, is my 10-pound bag of goodies that you can buy off of our website. And that's where you also can find the playbook that we are kind of diverting from now, but there's also plenty of projects inside of that project playbook for you all to watch and see. I think that's it from me today. Thank you so much for always joining me, my friends, and letting me be fun and goofy with you all. This is definitely not my best work. I've done better work than this, and it's because I should have used a smaller brush right here because it got all messy, and then I also probably should have used less water. And let's be honest here, Kate should have also used a real mirror instead of using the backwards camera to figure out where she was going. Anywho, we live, we learn, we try again. Anywho, that's it from me this lovely Thursday. It has been an honor and a pleasure to be here with all of you. Again, my name is Kate, here with the Playful Learning Stream from the 2-Bit Circus Foundation. I hope you have a good rest of your day, everyone.